Hey, I'm Ethan.
And I'm Luke.
We're back.
I'm also back.
Today, we have today's date on the wall.
No big deal.
Today.
Nothing sly about that.
Today.
Take it in. Just remind yourself.
Yes, today. So, today's date, today, we're going to be talking about what we teased last week, which was we went to an establishment. Yeah, I mean, that's basically...
Pretty premiere, if you will, I'd say. Would you agree?
It was a...
Would you say it was premiere?
It was, yeah. That's the
Okay.
word they used to call it. Yeah, premiere. Okay. But before we get into that, I want to talk about a story. And we talked about it a little bit before. It's not going to be relevant later, so I'm going to talk about it now, despite the fact that it is completely irrelevant to the topic. You know the band Nirvana.
I do.
And
now that you said that, I know what you're going to talk about before you even begin, and I'm just as angry about it as you probably are. Am I right?
Just to prep, you do know the band Nirvana, right? You've heard of them before?
Maybe once or twice. I mean, I'm wearing a red flannel. I believe.
Okay,
I believe I'm familiar with it. Enough said.
I should have known. You wore a flannel.
Of course.
So everyone knows Nirvana, right? Popular 90s alt rock band. They have an album cover that has a naked baby.
They have several album covers.
One of which contains a naked baby. Naked baby chasing a dollar.
Mm-hmm. The dollar's not actually there, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, the dollar was not in the pool, but the baby was naked, and his ween was in the pool, and it's on the album cover.
Are we allowed to say that on the air?
Ween?
The ween?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, we said worse.
If
it's
not,
we will say worse.
If it's not in reference to the 90s band.
Okay, I didn't. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The 90s band Ween.
Mm-hmm.
So the person from that album cover is now an adult. Because it's been...
I would hope so.
It's been time since...
I would hope he's not remained an infant for the last 30 years.
It's been time since that album cover was taken, and now he's an adult. He's now suing... I don't know who exactly he's suing. I don't know if it's the record company...
Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
This is a really messed up court case.
You should sue Courtney Love instead.
Good idea. Is she still alive?
Probably. Couldn't tell you.
Right.
He's suing for child pornography and approximately $150,000 worth of damages for child pornography for that album cover being taken. Now, there's a lot of problems with this. One of which, well, the premise of which is that he's going to lose, but there's several reasons he's going to lose.
Tell me about him, Ethan.
Well, he's obviously only suing for money. He had his claim to fame, and he did nothing with his life, and now needs money, and so he's thinking, let me go sue someone for it. That is considered art, and as you're aware, Luke, but maybe people aren't, the law is different when it comes to things like art, so you can do profane things that otherwise would not be illegal.
I was vaguely aware of that.
If it's classified as art.
Which I don't understand why he's even taking the time to sue, because $150,000, like, if you have to pay legal fees after you get your winnings, you're coming out with not much left. So it's
and the government's going to take their cut. And
yeah,
then you're paying the legal fees.
Everybody gets their piece.
You got a month's rent.
Yeah. I mean, you bought a Subway sandwich.
Yeah. So he's suing for that much. Like I said, one problem is that it's art, and so it's not technically illegal. The same reason they were allowed to make the movie Cuties, which we're not going to get into that. But you already know that.
That's why? Because it was a...
No, I'm just saying that's an example of a time where something that would otherwise be illegal is legal because it's art.
Still mad about that.
Of course, but we're not going to get into that one. That's a different thing.
We've already discussed it on a past podcast.
Yeah, but it's not up anymore.
It's not.
Hey, if you're around then you know.
Next episode, tune in for...
No,
we're doing
pretend.
a teardown of Cuties. Tune in. We're not late with this at all.
Yeah, so other than the fact that it's illegal because of the way they did it, he was very happy about having done that for many years, and he's been in several interviews, talked about it. He's gotten money from, aside from being paid to do the album cover, just money and doing interviews and like promoting it and things like that. And he's been very proud of himself. He once called himself the world's biggest porn star because everyone's seen him naked. And he's just done a lot of things that show that he was okay with it and he was happy about it.
That makes it sound like he's condoning child porn, which now he's suing for it, which makes him a hypocrite and a friggin' creep for condoning child porn. But that's besides the point. I
wasn't even going to mention that point, but that's a good one. That's a good one.
Right?
Yeah. So all they're going to do is say in court, it's going to be one. I mean, I'm not saying like legitimately, but
he's not a lawyer.
In my opinion, it's a 5-minute case. It was art. He signed a contract,
and
or whoever
30 years ago,
his parents or whoever was his legal guardian did it. Yeah, I don't know if the statute of limitations would be up for that. I would imagine potentially, but aside from that, they're gonna reference the fact that he was severely okay with the thing up until now. And he's been very proud.
And it's not even like he has plausible deniability because there's literal recorded evidence from the last decades, you know?
Yeah, like since film has been around, he's talked about how much he is happy with having done that.
As he should be, because he's now an icon, even though no one knows his name.
Which it's just
at the end of the day, that makes this trial even more ridiculous. Nobody knows. The court case has just come out, and I don't know who the guy's name is still. It's like nobody knows his name.
I didn't either. And if you look at him, you can tell he was a guy who did nothing with his life. I don't want to be rude, but I mean, he just didn't. And he just needs money now. He's gotten his fix of money you can get from saying he's happy about it, because you can only go on so many interviews and say you're okay with that before you drain your bag. And now he's going for the...
Now he's chasing the real bag. $150,000 minus expenses.
And now he's going to pay the legal fees and lose. So now he's going to need even more money. And who knows what he's going to do after that. Maybe he'll go do more album covers naked. I mean, I don't know if that's his thing.
Throwback, bro. It's a throwback.
Yeah, but that makes me angry. Like, aside from the fact that he's just stupid, because like there's plenty of stupid people suing for stupid things, I like Nirvana, and I thought it's a cool album. It's an iconic album. It was like one of the most popular rock albums of all time. And now it's tainted with the fact that he's suing them for having put him on the album cover. Like, it was a perfect little bow, aside from the fact that Kurt Cobain died.
Yeah, that throws a little wrench in things, doesn't it?
But yeah, I mean, it was part of the legacy, and like the thing was okay until now. But yeah, I mean, there you go. A little bit of news to preface the story today.
Thanks, man. Thank you for turning my comedy podcast into a current events.
Is this comedy?
I don't know. I'd like to think I'm pretty mediocre at humor, so that's all it takes these days to qualify as a comedy.
Hey, I can't argue there. But anyways, that's about it. We're gonna that's about it for the episode. How about that? We'll just be done right now.
That's fine.
Okay, so
this can go on to like the highlights track
of highlights of our one
of Nectar of our 2 episodes that we've recorded. This is going onto the highlight track.
Okay. So we went to an establishment.
We did. I've gone into several establishments in the past.
Not this establishment.
This is my first time going into this particular establishment.
And not just this specific one, but this type of establishment. That's so. I mean, you probably know what it is already from the ending of last episode. I gave enough hints that you know what it is. We're not going to call it what it is.
If you didn't listen to last episode to get the little hints of context, go back and do it now, because we want your views to add to our statistics.
I'll give you I'll hint at what it is, because regardless, we have to introduce what it is, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a place that we could go to at 18 years old
in South Carolina.
In South Carolina, which is where we were at the time. And you can't do that in Georgia until you're 21. So it's an establishment that is legal at 18. It has alcoholic beverages and a bar there, but that's not the focus of what you're.
Absolutely not.
You go there to spend money in low bill increments, such as primarily 1s, occasionally 5s. If you're
real classy, you'll have a lot of $2 bills ready.
Dude, I want to go there with a $2 bill.
As do I.
A stack. He got $1,000 in 2s. But we went to an establishment. So you go there, and there are people performing
an activity
around
a steel pillar. I'll call it. Does that seem appropriate to you?
Yeah, and it's on a stage.
Yes.
It was,
and the pillar rotates.
And not only do you pay them to be on the pillar rotates. Not only do you pay the people to be on the pillar and entertain you, but you can pay them to
perform extra activities.
No, you can pay them to go into a room inside the establishment with you,
with or without water. There's different options.
Of which you will get more acts of entertainment performed that are a little bit more handsy,
debaucherous.
A little bit more debaucherous than the ones.
Should have been that should have been on the board.
If I could make that fit and not look all block, which that one already, the T is so far away from the T.
I can edit debaucherous onto it.
Yeah, okay. Do that right now.
Okay.
So you can do that. So you probably know what it is right now. We're going to call it a club, like the dancing, kind of like the club you go into and you listen to music and dance.
We went to the Clubhouse.
Yeah, we went to the Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
We went to a club in which you dance, and that's it.
Except only one person's dancing and everybody else is spectating.
No. We went to a club in which there's like rave music going on and there's everyone on the dance floor. That's what it is. So we went there, and before we get into that specific thing, there's a little bit of backstory. So as we mentioned last week, we're all leaving to go our separate ways for the foreseeable future, both Luke, Felix, and I. So we were like, let's go to this Brazilian steakhouse in South Carolina that we like to go to.
Our third friend really likes it, so he wanted to take us, and he ended up treating us, which was very nice of him, and I am in appreciation.
Yeah, it's a Brazilian steakhouse. So basically how that works is you go to a table, you have a little card that one side is green, one side is red, and if you flip it over green, then it means you want food. If it's red, it means you don't want food, and if it's green and you want food, waiters just come to your table with a shish kebab full of meats, and they say, hey, do you want this? And then if you say yes, you get it. And then you just do that until you want to leave. Mm-hmm. It's nothing but meat.
It's Well, no, they had pineapple, which I was talking to my dad because he's been there too. I didn't know, but he's been there too, and like I gotta say, I'm pretty spoiled as far as that goes because my dad, you might know, my dad's a heck of a cook. He grills meats like no one on the planet, and so I go there and like I'm eating all this stuff, and it's really good. But at the same time, it's not really anything my daddy can't cook.
Well, it's good, but it's not like you're okay. So I don't just because Ruth's Chris is one of the better steakhouses in the area. Well, not the standard, but it's one of it's probably the most prolific, really nice steakhouse in this area. So you go to Ruth's Chris and you pay, but it's like a really nice high quality steak. You're paying a similar amount, but rather than getting one really nice high quality steak, you're getting 20 different good steaks.
And I mean that is the appeal of it. Like my dad's not going to cook a flank steak and a leg of lamb and a ribeye just so that I can have all three. He's cooking one thing at a time. But here you can have 46 different types of meats at the same time. And if that isn't paradise, I don't know what is.
Yeah, it's all above average, but nothing is insane. But like there's pork ribs. Not pork ribs, but there's pork and ribs and beef ribs and steak, beef, chicken. There's like 20 plus kinds of meats that they make there with different seasonings. Lamb is one thing they have there. They had grilled pineapple, but that was kind of like a side thing. People don't really.
That was my dad's favorite thing.
Yeah, I feel like everyone who goes there either loves that or hates that.
I don't like pineapple, so
I'm not a fan of hot pineapple, but whatever. Cold pineapple's fine. But anyway, so it was really good. But you're eating just meat, so testosterone booster. First of all, fantastic.
Absolutely. Gets you in the mood to go to the clubhouse.
That was the pregame for the clubhouse. Eating meat, but it's absolutely delicious, and you can just go there and eat as much meat as you can, and I mean you can eat pounds of meat for one price, and it's expensive in the sense that like it's a nice steakhouse.
It's so expensive though that you make sure you get your money's worth out of it.
You get as much money's worth out of it as you want.
If you haven't triggered the meat sweat button, you wasted your money.
That is the place to go get the meat sweats because you eat until you don't want to eat. But I will say that hit hard on the stomach, and I know I'm speaking on behalf of all three of us, but it's nothing but
I couldn't hardly walk by the end of it.
It was a struggle to get to the car. It just hits the stomach like a ball of lead, which is I mean that's just what meat is. But
the reason Ethan mentions this is because we were on our way from where we left to go to that restaurant, but on the way we passed the club.
And we didn't intend on going to a club that night, but we passed by it, and we're just kind of like, haha, what if we went there? And then me and Luke looked at each other, and we both kind of had the same thought. And we worked with a guy this past summer, or he's worked with him before, I worked with him this past summer, and he's a really cool dude, really fun to work with. But he had one point mentioned to both of us separately that you can go to clubs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
At 18.
I couldn't remember the guy for a minute. I was like, who did we both work with?
Yeah, he mentioned that you can go to clubs at 18 in South Carolina. And so me and Luke both knew that, but never really talked about it beyond, haha, it's funny that he talked to us both about that. But then we both looked at each other and were like,
we're about to leave.
And we could go there. We've never been. We've always said this is something that we all want to do at some point.
We're all in suits. It's the perfect opportunity.
I forgot to say that. We were all in blue suits.
We were all in matching blue suits. The same type of suits in our SoundCloud profile. Actually, I haven't changed it from
pretty much every profile. We use that picture just because it's good. We need to update it with the one we took there though. We took pictures. We'll put it out there.
We'll fix it.
But we went there. We drove past the club on the way to the steakhouse. We're like, basically came to the conclusion that we need to go there because we're all about to leave. We've never done this before. It's an experience that everyone needs to have.
Every young lad needs to have.
Yeah. So. The whole time we were eating, we were talking about it pregame and like getting ready. Like we need to go to Walmart to get money. So when we're done and we're waddling to the car, barely able to walk because we have so much meat, we go to Walmart. And so we're like, let's just go buy something for like $1 and then
this is just to demonstrate our naivete about the clubhouse. Yeah. What he's about to tell you.
Yeah, we were terrible. So we go to Walmart and I'm like, let's go buy like a 50-cent pastry and then just get like however much money we want. I'm not going to say, just out of interest of not being shamed because I didn't spend enough or I spent too much by people who go to different clubs. But we're going to go, let's get cash back and then just say, hey, can I get that in ones or fives or whatever? So Felix goes first and he's like, hey, can I get back money in ones? And she's like, I have like 10 ones in here. And so Felix is like, I guess I'll take that. And so he does that and then like, I can't get anything. I was like, hey, can I get cash back in ones? And I didn't want to be annoying, but like I've worked at a store. I worked at a Kroger before, which is the same thing as Walmart, just different branding basically. And I know that like if a cash register is out of certain denominations of bills, they can go grab like 1,000 of that same denomination 5 feet away.
They never do it though. I've never been to a place where they readily have more than like 6 or 7 ones available, and it's very annoying because if you hand them like 100 and they need to break change, They can't usually. It's very
Yeah,
hard.
especially if you want certain bills, which is what we were going for. So she didn't do it. She just gave me a bunch of 20s. I was like, okay, whatever. So we go to a gas station. Or we go to 2 ATMs and try to do the same thing. Just try to get like bills and ones, and you can't do that. But we just have a bunch of cash now in 20s and 10s and 5s and stuff. So we go to a gas station. And there's an ATM in the gas station, and so I walk up to the cash register and say, hey, I got this money out of the ATM. Can you break it down for me? And he's like, yeah, what do you need? And I was like, can I just get it in... and I was like, can I get it in ones? And I was like, it's fine if there's a couple of fives. He's like, are you going to a club? And I was like, yeah, why? And he's like, you know that you can get ones there. Like, you go there with your money and you get ones. And I was like, I don't know that. Do I look like the type of guy who goes to a club? And I was like, look, I'm young. I look like I'm 12.
And that's what I wanted to mention from the get-go. Like, if you think we didn't get crap from at least one adult who knew what we were up to, we absolutely did, and we made ourselves look like fools.
And I'm sure anyone who didn't give us crap was thinking, I'm sure the Walmart cashier knew what we were doing.
Oh, they absolutely knew we were up to. They're like, these fools about to go to a club in matching suits, and they all look 14. They can't be here. They about to get thrown out the club because they all look 14.
Yeah, so after spending an hour trying to get bills in low increments, we find that out from the gas station cashier, which is great because we would have kept wandering around until we found one.
There's something about this story that you don't know, actually. Because, like, you both were trying to get, like, $40 in ones, right? Like, you were trying to get, like, $40, $50 turned into ones. And I was the last one to get into the car because you'd stolen the front seat. And so I looked at the guy and I was like, you have a good evening, man. And he looks at me and he was like, you fellas are going to need a lot more money where you're going.
Yeah, and I was like... Yeah, so like initially I had like $40 and 20s, and like I obviously intended on getting more out because $40 ain't gonna get you very far at a club. But I was just trying to figure out where I could get ones, and so like Luke tells the guy, "Yeah, we know that." Basically, like not being a douche about it, but like, that's what he. Like,
well, it's like if you're gonna play stupid games, you're gonna get stupid prizes. So a comment like that's gonna get you right into the Collins seat of disapproval. You're about to get stamped right on the forehead with my disapproval.
Yeah, and then my plan was to go to like 2 or 3 different places and just get like. Get at some money on one because I know I'm not going to go to a place and say, can we all like cumulatively get like a few $100s in ones, because like that's just not like no one's going to have that.
That doesn't look good at all.
And I just knew that we could like no place is going to have that readily, and so we ended up just going obviously because we found out we could get them there. So I go in there, I have my money already, I go to the ATM that's there and I grab out more money because
this man thought he was about to get ones out of the ATM.
No, I went to the ATM and then I took it to the counter and said, hey, can I get this in ones?
Yeah, but I remember so vividly because like you went to the ATM and you took out like $60 and it gave you 320s and you were like, what? What is this? And I was like, you thought it was going to give you ones?
I didn't do that.
Felix did.
Yeah.
Did I say you did?
Yeah.
No, Felix did that.
Yeah, I knew that I'd have to go to the front counter.
Man thought he was about to get ones out of the ATM.
Yeah, I didn't want to get you ones out. So I grab out some money and go to the bar, which is where that's just where the only person at a desk was. Not a desk, but you know what I mean, like behind something that gives them authority.
Ready to interface with customers.
Yeah. So I go there and I hand her my money, and then she gives me a stack like that thick of ones, and I was like, I don't even want to, like, obviously I spent it, but I was like, I don't want to spend this because this feels powerful to have this much of a thick stack of money. But we all get our money, and we got there, I wouldn't have thought very early. It was like 8 or 9 o'clock. We were when we first walked in, we were the first people there because like I guess that just as we found out later, which I kind of assumed, but it doesn't get busy till late.
Yeah.
Like, by the time we left, a couple hours later, it was packed. Like it was full of like 10 people probably 10, 15 people that are workers there that are entertaining, and then like twice as many or 3 times as many people just in the audience of the club, of the dance club. My
bedtime is entirely too early to make a regular practice out of this. I don't understand going anywhere that late. I want to be in bed by that time. So
yeah, I want to go.
I was totally out of my element.
I want to go to the club, dance at 5 p.m. and be home by 8.
I want the same thing you said, but with the addition of lasagna, because that seems like an appropriate thing to eat at
Listen,
dinner.
a club that serves food is not a club you need to go to.
Okay, so a little aside, the same person that we worked for that told us about clubs.
Oh, he talked about like one with like a buffet or something.
Did he tell you that his uncle, his boss, he regularly went to a club to eat lunch?
Yes.
That is the most awkward thing I've ever heard in my life.
There's people who do that, like particularly in downtown Savannah. I don't know anyone personally, but I've heard stories from other adults that like people go there to eat lunch. Like you just go to a club to eat lunch. What do you like?
Well, it's like no offense to this man because he's one of the chillest people I've ever met in my life, but I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't.
I really don't.
Well, it's like you go there to eat lunch, and then is that all you do? Like I feel like I think is, and this is my thought of going there. Like you can't go there and not spend money because that's just disrespectful to the people that are performing.
Yeah, that's
like if you're gonna
in
go
a
there,
way that's stealing.
Well, yeah, it's like you go into a movie and watch it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Like I it feels, especially like. Okay, a movie's a little bit different because like I'm not interfacing with those people like the directors and actors, but like this, you're directly contacting these people and they're providing you what you are supposed to get when you go in there, and you're just not giving them money. And like you pay them, they don't get paid money from their boss. Like the way it works is you pay them and they get.
And it's even worse that you're going out there at noon and there's not going to be many people there anyway, so they're getting even worse ripped off because you're one of the only people there.
Yeah, well, it's like some places are open that early. And side story, this is funny. I was driving to Florida one time from North Carolina.
Okay.
It was like a 12-hour drive, but we're driving on the interstate, and by we, obviously I don't mean me and you, me and someone else. We were driving, and we see a sign that says it's like basically an IHOP, but that has waitresses that are not clothed. It wasn't called IHOP, but it was like it's a breakfast brunch place that has unclothed waitresses, and they're like apparently like old.
So it's like breakfast Hooters.
No, because Hooters they still have clothes on. This one they are buck naked. And like the signs were all so sleazy and like disgusting. But I was like, I want to go eat a stack of pancakes and get served
and gander at breasts.
But just from what their reviews were and even how they advertise, it's all like just gross waitress. Like the way like they've been working there for 40 years. Type ladies.
If that's not a sales pitch, I don't know what is.
But that reminded me of that because that's where you go at noon to get food. That's where
to get a stack of slapjacks.
Yeah,
flapjacks.
But there's places you can go at noon and get food and be entertained. But I feel like
you're not
places that are like that's not a good club. Good clubs open at 6, 7, 8 p.m.
I'd say that's not Premier.
The one we went to called themselves a Premier Club, and I was like, okay, I'm sure they all call themselves that, but it was.
The word calling a club Premier immediately makes me think it's going to be a rundown dump like Doodles.
Yeah,
but with a steel column. Steel pillar.
Yeah, and so you see the Premier title, but the place still looks nice on the outside. Like it's not dumpy or anything.
It looks presentable. I was willing to go in.
Yeah, but it really was nice. And of course, we haven't been to like 100 clubs, so we don't
really have a
frame of reference. But what we know from what people have told us and talking with other people and them telling stories about their friends, this was a very nice establishment comparatively.
And also, it looked a lot like what you see in the movies.
Exactly.
To me,
yeah, it looked like a place that could be in a TV show or movie.
Yeah, and that was enough to convince me that this was a decently high class place. I mean,
and it was. I mean, everyone there was respectful. And that's what we'll get into in a minute. We talked with some of the workers there about how the place operates compared to other places, and it's a really nice place. Like they don't have a lot of sketchy stuff going on like a lot of other places.
And they were respectful to us, even though none of us were 21. Like I am convinced
our money's just as good.
Well, yeah, exactly. But at the same time, like, you know, I've been walking around places where typically younger people don't go walking around, and you can hear the crowd like right next to you. Like I've been to places with friends, and we're all younger, obviously, and like the crowd that's around you will just be like, "Oh, when did they start letting the younger guys?
Yeah,
the children in.
Who let the kids in?"
And it's just like, dude. You douchebag!
Like,
my money is just as valuable as yours.
Like if I'm allowed here, you know, like obviously I'm allowed here if I'm in here.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't sneak in.
You'll catch these hands just as valuably as if I'm 40s. Yeah. Shut your yapper, bro.
So yeah, we were not 21, so I could tell by some people we were getting some judgy looks, but no one said anything, which was nice. But also, I feel like some of the workers there thought that was an opportunity because we're young and naive, and they could probably get more out of us.
Which it didn't work. Obviously, like some people try and give us a sales pitch. We were like, no, no, man.
So we're all relatively like we knew what the deal was going in. So like we know that they're obviously just trying to get money out of you, and like
we've all grown up in households that have very well educated us on the gimmicks that go on with that line of work.
Yeah, so we know that like if a worker there is like chatting us up, flirting with us, putting a hand on the shoulder, hand on the leg, we know they're just there to make money. And like, you know, fair enough, but like I'm not gonna give into that thinking that okay, this chick likes me and wants to date me.
Yeah,
like I know they're there to make money. And I'm there to pay money. That's the dynamic of the place. So like we knew that's what it was.
Mutual exchange.
Yeah, but we get in there, we get our money, and then like I said, at first we were the only ones there, but not long after, more people walk in, and then the workers start coming in, and they start doing their stuff,
getting prepped.
Yeah, and so we go sit up by the stage because we're like, hey, we'll go sit up by the stage, see how this is. we obviously made some mistakes. I'll preface before I get in deep into the story because it was our first time. But I think comparatively, we got out really well. Like we didn't,
absolutely.
we didn't spend an unreasonable amount, and we had a good time. We didn't get conned into doing anything, but like we did spend money at places and times that we didn't, and that we wouldn't have looking back.
It also helps that we were sober.
Yeah, that's one thing that we all agreed on. We would never.
I will never drink at a club.
No, I'm too scared that my money's going to disappear.
Yeah, I care about my paychecks too much.
Yeah, but we went up by the stage, and there's like probably I'd say like 10, 12 seats around the stage because they're really nice, like leather, big arm resting seats. So we go up there, and like the performers are doing their thing, and so while you're up there, you toss some money up there, and it's kind of like what I was saying earlier. You have to pay money when you're in there, especially if you're out by the stage. You need to be tipping. Like if you're sitting there and not paying money, you're just
taking up a seat.
Yeah, that someone else could want, and then also that's how they make their money. So you go up there, you got to be paying money. That's just like that's extremely impolite not to do so. So you're like putting money up there, or whatever, just not like $100 up there, but like a couple dollars at a time, every couple minutes, whatever. And so we sit up there for a little bit, and we kind of just forget that we're up there, and so like more people come on and like they start rotating, and we're like, we should move because.
We didn't want to pay for every single.
Yeah, like we're going to be drained in 20 minutes and then have to leave, and I'm not taking out more money than I had initially. Like after my first couple rounds at the ATM and before we started, I wasn't taking out any more money. So we were like, we need to move. Well, it was in the middle of a performer, but we obviously waited till she was done because we didn't want to be rude. But we're like,
she was really cool too.
Yeah, we need to go sit at a table that's not up by the stage, so we don't have to just sit here and toss money for something.
Sit here and talk, bro.
Yeah. So we went to the back and got a table and started talking, and we kind of all left with the same idea. We're like, this is. I don't know if that's how everyone thinks about clubs like that, but we looked at it as a place where we can just all hang out, but there's just also performers there. We're not going there to get a I don't know how to say this delicately, but we're not going there to get a
serviced.
Yeah, we're not going there to get serviced.
Yeah,
we're not going there.
It is the place where you take a boys' trip every year. And expectations are not high.
Well, we're not going there to get stimulated.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah,
we're not going there to get stimulated. We don't even interact with it in the sense that like, man, dude, there's a chick there and she's so hot.
Oh my god, there's breasts in front of me. That's crazy.
That's not what it is.
We were casual enough about it to the point where like a dancer would get up there and start entertaining, and she would like not even be like doing her thing. Like it would get to the point where we were having like casual conversation with the people up there. Those are my favorite ones, the ones that like didn't take it too incredibly seriously.
Yeah.
Just like she's like, I'm a Capricorn, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but like it was just like we would hang out here and like listen to music. It was just a place to hang out, listen to music, and have a good time. And then there's just also that there. Like it was just like a fun environment. It's a lively environment. So, well, first off, I just want to say, and this is gonna be some me getting angry, because
can I get angry first? Because I don't have near the grievance that you do.
Go ahead.
They charged me $6 for a Red Bull.
Yeah, I forgot about it. That's, not
even one of the big ones. It was one of the small ones.
Yeah, that's obviously unreasonable compared to gas station, but like,
unbelievable.
What'd you expect?
I feel like I expected.
I feel like for a place like that is pretty on par with how much that would cost anywhere at an establishment.
That's about what I expected, but still.
I mean, bars are the same way. You go to a bar, even a regular bar, and you're going to get charged.
So I'm just going to drink at home.
Right.
I don't get it.
But that's what I'm saying. You go to you're going to pay more. Like it was annoying, but like I that wasn't what my grievance was. My grievance is bigger, and Luke obviously understands why, because mine was more detrimental to my money.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're. Oh my god, I wish I had a funny way to tell this story, but because like, oh my god, it made me angry watching it happen.
Yeah. So we're up by the stage, and this is the first chick that's dancing while we're up on the stage. Not on the stage, but
first lady
by the stage. And so
there's
like a lip, probably like this much of the table, like this far, like a 6 inches where you can set your drinks or money or whatever. So like it's pretty routine. You just set your stack of money there, so you can.
I wouldn't put a drink there.
I wouldn't either. But
they were pretty getting rowdy up there.
But that's where you would just set things,
right? Yeah,
just a little lip to set things on. And so we get up there, and there's already people up there, and they have their money sitting there. So we're like, oh, we'll set our money here too, because that's what you're supposed to do. We were learning how this whole thing worked while we were there.
They told us how to do it too. They were very cool. They were like, put your money up here and throw cash up there every now and then. The bartender was very nice.
Yeah, I want to. Before we get into my angry story, don't let me forget that. I want to say, whenever we first walked in, the guy that like carded us and was like, "Yeah, you guys are 18."
He was so cool.
Yeah, he was super. Like he was. We told him it was our first time there, and he was like, "Yeah, like totally get it. Like if you need any help, like finding something, knowing what to do, how this works, like literally anything. Like I will be your personal concierge. Like whatever you need to know, let us know." Super nice guy. We didn't end up needing him for anything just because we were like figuring it out on our own. But the fact that he was willing to do that was incredibly. helpful.
I feel like there's probably a great deal of dealing with people our age coming in, which there was no one else our age there that night, but I feel like, maybe had it been a different day of the week, perhaps.
Well, it seemed like he cared about the business maintaining clientele. Because,
he made me want to come back. I mean,
that's my point.
It worked.
Like him being nice makes me want to go there as opposed to other places. Because I just had such aside from the premise of being there, the staff that was, serving drinks and just, making sure everything is clean, sweeping the stage. He's just a nice guy. That's the kind of guy I want to give my money to, is his business. But back to my angry story. So you have our money sitting there, and so whatever, we're tossing a couple bills up there. All three of us are just a couple bucks at a time as it happens. And so and this is going to be kind of awkward to talk about because I just don't want to talk about it because it's weird. But whenever you toss a few bills up there, she would come give you a little 5-second little routine,
a little bit of extra service.
Yeah, so she'd lean off the stage and
caress you.
Yeah, whatever. She would give you a little.
Sometimes I went a little bit farther than caressing, depending on the amount of cash money you put up there. But
yeah, I mean, it was depending on how much money.
We'll call it caressing.
But they would lean off the stage and put their hands on your legs or whatever, and just whatever, give you a little personal show for 5 seconds. And so they would she made her rounds around everyone on the stage just because people were tossing up money. And so first, I'm just gonna tell what happened to Felix first, just because he played it right, and I didn't I didn't play it wrong because I didn't know. But what Felix did was perfect. So whenever she is going on to Felix, whatever, she grabs a stack this thick of Felix's money, and then Felix grabs it. Because I don't know if she was grabbing it for herself or to hand to Felix, but she was intending on wanting that much money. And so Felix grabs a stack, and then she does her thing, and then Felix takes a few bills and throws them up there, and then puts the rest of the money back. She comes to me, grabs a stack of money, and I guess it probably did it to me because Felix grabbed the money and then only tossed a couple. I didn't think about that until now.
She gave you no window to react to it at all.
So she did her thing, and then she goes back on stage, leans over, and grabs a stack of money like that.
It was at least $40.
And just tossed it on the stage herself. I didn't even touch it.
She didn't even give you anything extra. She gave you the standard extra package.
She did it when she was done. As she was retreating to the stage, she grabs a quarter of I don't know, a stack of my money. I didn't even see how much money. It was that thick of ones, and just tosses it behind her, and then smiles at me. And I'm like, you make me want to go home.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, after she did that, immediately I picked up all my cash and put it in my breast pocket. No one was gonna have access to my money except for me.
Yeah, and after that, I did not put my money up there anymore. But and as we'll get into later, I talked to one of the other dancers, and that's not standard. It was just that one.
Well, she was the only one that even tried to do it. She was so aggressive.
That's my point. That's not standard, but that was the first experience we had, and so I wasn't visibly angry, but in my mind I was like, that's a lot of money, and I didn't hand that to you. And like I said, now looking back, she probably did that because she tried to get Felix to do it, and then Felix didn't toss $40 up there. Felix tossed 10 or whatever it was, and then put the rest back on a stack. But she didn't want to give me the chance to not give her the money, so she just grabbed it and threw it on the stage behind her, and I was like, there's my money. I can't do anything. I'm not going to climb up there and grab it, obviously. I'm not going to make a scene.
If I had bigger cojones, I would have just gotten on that stage and grabbed all of that cash.
I mean,
I would have taken every dollar off of it.
I don't want to sound like a douche and say that's not a lot of money, but it wasn't an egregious amount that I'm going to make a big deal about it. It's I went in there and got that money out.
It's the principle. It's not even the amount of money.
Right. It's the principle, but it wasn't worth getting kicked out or having to leave or being
Absolutely.
that guy in the corner that did that.
That guy.
So I was just I'm just going to be careful from now on. It's that's something I will not put my money on there anymore. And I'm sorry to any other future performers that doesn't have the opportunity to even, because the thing is, I know a lot of them don't even take it. That was just her, but just having the stack there is just nice to know that you are.
It takes one person to ruin the experience for everybody is what we're chalking this up to.
And especially since it was my first time. That was my first impression. That was the first chick that we saw dance. But after that, other than that, it was pretty good. Money was only given out when I wanted to give out money. Mm-hmm. But that made me angry because she just took my money. No permission.
Imposing yourself on my stack of loot is not cash money.
She grabbed an amount that probably could have gotten me 5 minutes in the back room.
5? Yeah. I mean,
and I didn't get 5 minutes in the back room.
Do the math. Follow the money.
Like I said, I don't know exactly how much it was, but it was enough that my stack was noticeably smaller.
Well, I mean, you ran out before everybody else, and I was like, "Here, dude, have $30. Call it money for the drink we had earlier." You know?
Yeah, well, it's because we were all spending pretty similar amounts, but since I got $40 taken roughly, I was just guesstimating that's how much it was. I ran out sooner just because I got that much taken from me in one go. And I didn't even end up spending $1 of that 30 just because we left like right after. But yeah, so other than that, it was pretty good. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of this whole thing, which
we haven't been in the meat and potatoes this whole time.
We've been nibbling at it, but now
it's time for the main course.
Well, it's talking about what we did the majority of the time there, which is once we got back to a table, and of course we went up to the stage every once in a while for certain performers that we were like, okay,
struck our fancy.
Yeah, but mostly we're just sitting at a table, like engaging,
just BSing
with each other, talking to each other. But there was one point where a performer came up to our table and started talking to us, and of course, all of our first impressions were she's gonna try and con us into giving her money. Obviously, like she's gonna come here, flirt with us to give us money. But then she's like after a few minutes of talking, it's probably going to seem like we're just being naive.
Not once did she try to sell us on anything.
Right, and that's what I was going to say is like she wasn't trying to do that, and it probably makes us sound naive, and like she actually was, but she legitimately did. Like she was just like she's only been working there a week. There was a lot of dudes, and we can even vouch for this, that looked really creepy in that place that night.
Yes,
and so she was like, "You guys look nice and like
upstanding,
respectful." So I just wanted to come talk to you guys because like whenever they're not on stage, they're just like
mingling
around. Yeah, and so until it was her turn to go up, she just wanted to talk to us, and like I said, at no point did she like try to get us to take her to the back room. Did she ask for money from us or anything? Like,
actually, the only time she told us about pricing for anything was when you asked about it.
Right, and that's what I was saying. Yeah, so we just have like honestly normal conversation that you would have with someone at like a lunch outside of that establishment. Like I was just asking her like are you in college? Like when did you graduate? Like just random questions. She was like, yeah, I took a gap year and then COVID happened, and so like another gap year turned into that, and then she's doing that for some money. And then I was just, like I said, genuinely curious about like just her as a person, because she was nice, and then about the business. So I was asking questions that I wouldn't ask anyone else that was there just because they would not give me the time of day. But like I said, she was nice, and so I was asking like what, like obviously the house gets some money, and by the house I mean the business, and also I was like, what percent of the money that gets tossed up there do you get to keep? Like how much does it cost to go to the back? They have a hot tub there, which I did not think was a thing. So I was like,
I was not even remotely interested in that, even if I had the cash for it.
I wouldn't either. But I was like, how much does a hot tub cost? Like, do you bring your own bathing suit? Do they give you like? I was just asking questions about the business, and I learned a lot. And I like it's something I could have probably just Googled, but like it was nice to hear someone who was a patron of that. Like if I wanted to find stuff out about firefighting, I would go ask you, right? And like we wouldn't need to go to a fire station to do that. It was like that, but with her.
I mean, you could, but it's just easier to ask me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't need to be in a fire station to talk about your job. We didn't need to be there to talk about her job. We just happened to be there, and so we were just asking questions about the business and like learning a lot. And I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting. Like about all the logistics and like she like tips the people who sweep the stage and like tips out some of the like the bouncers if there's bouncers. And then she was talking about some bad experiences she had at other clubs, and like it was just cool. I thought it was a fun time.
I didn't hear that about tipping the people mopping the stage. But that raises a question for me. Do you think porn stars like tip the mop boys, the janitors? Do you think they tip them?
No, because they get like one flat fee for the video. They don't get like royalties on the video for like.
Did you have a porn star to ask about this?
I saw a video. I was either on Instagram or like TikTok or something, but it was like a chick who was a porn star but is no longer a porn star, and she was talking about the industry. And once again, I just thought it was interesting because that's a pretty like. That's one of those things you don't talk about a lot, that kind of industry. So I was curious.
It's looked at as like a taboo to ask questions.
So I was just curious about some of the logistics, and she was like, you get paid a fee to film, and then that's it. Like you don't get paid as the thing gets video views or whatever. Like you just get one fee for the shoot, and then that's it.
That sounds like an opportunity to get wildly undercut on the value of
the
video.
You can also get overpaid. Like if you get paid and then it just doesn't perform. Like it's just how it works. So like I was asking about that, and like the reason I would assume that porn stars don't tip is because they just get the flat fee, but performers in this establishment consistently are making money.
There you go.
As they perform.
Drop your phone, why don't you?
Okay, cool. It didn't break. That's good. Hey, we're all good. It didn't break. So stuff like that, and like I said, we're asking about some of her other experiences at other places, and like asking like I was like, if you don't mind me asking, like how much on average do you make? And I'm not going to talk about it here just because I don't know if that's indecent, but just
it probably is.
But it's a lot of money. So like, just questions like that, and she was cool. We probably talked to her for like 2 hours. That's what we spend the majority of our time.
We were there. We were talking to her for a very long time, a very long portion of our stay there at the Clubhouse. It was interesting. Yeah,
and then I mean, like I said, we were just talking to her. We asked her to get a picture of us because we had our suits on and we wanted to get a picture. Yeah, I mean that was most of it. I mean, like after that, there's one more thing I'll talk about in a second, but that was the bulk of what we did. We were like,
that was the majority of our experience, and it was a positive experience.
Yeah,
which I will say. Going in there initially, I was the least excited to be there.
100%.
I'm sure you knew that already.
Oh, 100%. Yeah,
I did not. I wanted to be there the least out of anybody, but I was still like jazzed to be there because it's like I've never had that experience. I'm about to go to a place where I don't know if I can go to one of those places for the next year. Might as well. And like sitting down there initially, I wasn't even sitting with them near the stage because I was like, I don't want any part of this really. But in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna regret this if I don't. So eventually I went and sat up there with you guys, and
you had a good time.
And I had a good time. I came in with these preconceived notions. And it's not like that at all. It was a pretty positive experience. I'm sure we got lucky, and I'm sure it's very possible to have a very negative first experience. I just feel like we got lucky, as we usually do get lucky with these kind of things. We just we haven't grown up in a particularly bad area, and we have pretty good judgment as far as that kind of stuff goes.
I was gonna say we have pretty good judgment as well.
And so I feel like that does raise the point. We ought to make a disclaimer, like right now, like if you haven't had this sort of experience and you want to experience it with your friends, know the laws in your state, and also use good judgment, and also do not come in there with pockets full of cash.
Yeah, don't go in there with like $500 in one.
Yeah,
because you're gonna spend what you bring. Very likely, you're going to spend what you bring, unless you are.
I didn't, because I'm a cheap ass, but
unless you're very, very intentionally trying to not spend money, you're gonna spend all your money. Because like I said, it's just impolite not to if you're there. Like you're not gonna go there for 3 hours and not spend. Like you're not going to go there and spend $5 in 3. Like you're just not going. Like you're a dick if you do that.
Yeah. Well, that's not to say that I short sold them at all. Like I paid the appropriate amount. I didn't get any extra attention because I wasn't paying as much. So like they kept track surprisingly well, actually.
I was going to say that too. You didn't. It's not like you spent a lot less. Like
I got what I paid for.
Yeah, we all brought the same amount of money, which I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but we all brought the same amount of money,
and I left with the most.
Yeah. And because you gave me some money when I ran out, but I ran out because I got 40 taken from me. I probably spent like $20 more than you intentionally.
Mm-hmm.
So like it wasn't that much. Like you were still spending money. You just weren't like, I mean, you were just not like as into it as initially as me and Felix. And it wasn't like we were into it in like a once again stimulating kind of way. Just for the like it was just
they were having a lot more fun than I was, and I will say. Performers really like Felix.
Dude, yeah.
It's really incredible.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, dude. Because, and one thing, the other side story I was going to get into, which I'll go ahead and say before we get into the Felix thing, one of the other dancers, while we were talking with our friend dancer, came up.
I think I know what you're about to start.
Yeah, and so she was very clearly just putting the moves on us to try to get us to pay her money. She started with me and then went to Felix. And
immediate turn off.
And she was going to go to Luke next, but then it was her turn to perform. I know she would have gone to you now because she was like, you have money just like we do. She didn't, that was her. She was there to make money. But
I do think I have a case of raging RBF, I'll call it, that deters people.
Well, I was the closest one, and then Felix was the next closest. I don't think it had anything to do with. Initially, at least. We'll get to Felix in a second, but initially, she was just trying to make money. So she comes up to me, starts talking with me, like, very, like, what's the word where people talk, like, super slow, sensually? So very sensually.
It was sensual.
And she was, like leaning up on me, and, like, she put her hand on my shoulder and was, like, talking to me.
She went from shoulder to thigh in about 4 seconds, and I thought, wow.
So like
she's really going strong on the sales pitch.
Yeah, so I knew immediately that's all she was there for. And so I wasn't like, okay, you touched my thigh, let's go to the back right now. Okay, $300, let's go to the back for an hour.
Well, that's the problem though. We were already in the back, and so like the only option was to leave.
No, the back room.
Oh.
I should say this place was upstairs, but typically it's like the champagne room or the back room, like private room. That's what I mean. Like she's probably trying to get us to go back there.
Sure.
But like after a few minutes talking to me and like I was not giving her money or entertaining any ideas.
She moved on very quick.
And she went to Felix and did the same thing. And then it was her turn to perform. But she seemed more adamant about Felix. She called Felix cute. Our friend.
She came back to him a second time.
Yeah. And then there was one dancer. I don't know if it was that chick or the one that called Felix cute. They were a lot more adamant about giving the little the little 5
They gave
second.
him extra shows even when he didn't pay money.
Yeah, they were just all over Felix. They liked Felix. He's a light skin with curly hair. So like,
which
I mean,
I
there
will
you go.
I will say that if I was a performer, I'd probably be all over him too.
I mean, of course,
in a non-homosexual way.
I mean, yeah, I can't blame him, of course, but like,
absolutely,
it was just like I wasn't like
it was so funny to watch because like if the three of us were up there. And even when there were other people up there, they'd go for him first every time.
Every time.
He'd be sitting in the middle of the crowd. He'd be sitting on the edge. It didn't matter where he was sitting. They went for this man first. And I gotta say, kudos to my friend here because he got it going on. He got the blue suit with the curly hair. Mans was looking fly that night.
A nice contrast to his skin tone.
Absolutely.
And then the white shirt, it was good. Yeah, no, I don't blame him. Then there was that last dancer that we were up there for. She came to me several times though, as well. That was the only chick that seemed like she had any particular interest in me. Everyone else, Felix.
I will say though, the redeeming factor behind the one that tried to sell us so hard, she was dancing to Bring Me the Horizon. Redeeming factor every day of the week. And that was more than decent.
I put money up there because of the Bring Me the Horizon.
As did I. That's the only reason I paid her anything.
Yeah, so like we were up there I think for like 4 or 5 different chicks just intermittently throughout the night. Every single time they go to Felix first and more, except for the one chick who was dancing to Bring Me the Horizon. She came to me like 3 times. But other than that, it was all Felix every time.
I had fun watching her give you the extra.
Dude, that was...
She got crazy with you. She only hurt me.
I forgot whenever she came to you. She like... If you want to describe what... I mean, I don't know if you can without getting graphic. You probably can.
I can do this without getting graphic. So here's the deal. Some of the extra attention that these dancers gave people involved legs being on shoulders. And the only time that they crossed their legs was this one time when Bring Me the Horizon girl decided to cross her legs and put them on my shoulder.
So like, and right leg was over here, left leg was over there, and she was like corkscrewed herself on you.
And here's the deal. Her legs were not on me. Her boots were, because she was wearing these like tall...
knee-high stripper boots.
Which...
Dancer boots, my bad.
Dancer boots. Turn on for me, but not in this case because the eyelets were digging into my soul. And then she decided to twist and untwist her legs while they were on me. And I don't know if you've ever taken a drill bit to the forehead, but that's what it felt like. It was unpleasant. And it hurt. And apparently Ethan said, I've never looked so visibly uncomfortable in my life.
It was
and I
so
believe
funny,
it because
dude.
it was very hard not to yell at her.
I was laughing so hard. Oh, wait, she came to me a couple times, and she did like a different thing every time to me.
God.
And it was...
I enjoyed watching her treat you right.
I felt awkward.
It looked awkward, but it was still great. It was funny as hell.
Because it was like, it's particularly the times when they would go upside down. It's like, where do I put my, like, what do I do with my
What do I do with my hands?
No, not my hands. My hands, I thought, what do I do with my hands? And I was like, default, I'm just going to put them on the arms of the chair and just sit them here. But my face, dude, like, it was like close to various things. And I was like, I don't want to do anything that's like weird.
I didn't want him to get us kicked out, and I know he felt the same.
Well, not even that, but like, I didn't want to feel disgusting. So like, this is what I did. Anytime they would come on to me, anytime, but particularly when they would be like doing crazy things, I would go.
He went stone face.
Yeah, I'd go statue mode, and I would just sit there and wait for them to be done. It was an interesting experience, but like, I honestly don't think I liked that much.
I didn't want it.
Like even the times that it was when I wasn't getting corkscrewed. It was just.
Did anyone else get corkscrewed besides me?
No.
It was horrible.
But
I cannot. And listen, if you go to a clubhouse on your own, specifically request the entertainers not to corkscrew.
If you see them going for it, just say no.
You best uncorkscrew yourself before you go for this little show you about to give me, or else you about to find out.
Yeah, but it just. The stress of not knowing how to react whenever they're doing that is just too much for me.
I'm sure it's just experience of going there enough.
I'm sure, but even then, it's like, once again, I don't want to do something that's gross.
And every dancer feels different about what they're willing to accept.
I feel like if I do literally anything other than sit still, it's gross. Like,
especially in this world we live in.
I don't want to do anything anyway, but I don't want to, like, my hand graze something because it's, like, not sitting still on the chair. Like, if my hand's, like, in the air, like, reaching for my money or whatever, I don't want to accidentally touch something. And, like... then I'm gross, and like I don't want to do that either because I don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. Like I know the nature of their industry is what it is, but
and they can deal with a lot. They've expressed that to us,
but they still don't deserve to be groped and touched and like be uncomfortable like anyone. No one does. So like I didn't want to make them feel that way, and we expressed that to like this, particularly the one chick that we were talking to. I was like
the friendly one.
Yeah, I was like I'm gonna like I was like if you don't mind, like when I was asking questions about the industry, I was like, you know, like if I see something that makes you uncomfortable or like you don't feel like talking about, let me know. Like I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. And like even when we would like, there was a couple times where like they would say tell us to put money like in their waistband or like in their bra or whatever.
I wasn't even into that.
Well, like I was like. If I had tweezers, I would have used those. But I like pinch it and like put the edge in it and put my hand away. I was like, I don't even want to like have the edge of my finger graze anything. I was like, I just don't want to. Like that's just I don't know. It just felt awkward. But overall, it was a pretty good experience. We left there with money. We didn't spend a ton. We spent what we expected.
We spent enough.
Yeah, we spent enough. It was a good time. Learned a lot about it. Like
I feel educated.
We had some naivety about the whole thing at first, but we learned. And like I said, we didn't lose a lot in the process of learning. And now we know. Not that we're masters, but we know.
I know how to act right.
Yeah. But we know what their cons are. We know what the friendly ones do. We know what to do when you're on stage. And to wrap the whole thing up, we went home and immediately told our parents. Yes. All of us. And they all had the same reaction, which was, that's funny. Good for you.
That was my dad. My mom was like, you sinner.
Really?
My mama was not happy.
I mean, I guess it's not. I don't know.
I wasn't surprised.
I'm not super surprised, but your mom's super like chill and funny and like she's like she. If we're around your mom, like I don't have like I filter myself to be polite, but like
you don't need to.
Yeah, I don't have to in the sense that she's not gonna like legitimately think less of me because of it.
Yeah,
and
she's
she's a funny lady.
And my mama was angry at first, and it very quickly went from being legitimately angry to like making jokes about it. Like the second thing, she was like, "What if Jesus came while you were there?" And I was like, "Well,
that would have sucked.
If I'm not worthy of being taken when I'm not there, I'm certainly not worthy of being taken when I'm there because the thought's still there either way."
And you still did it.
And I still did it. Yeah. It's not like that gets etched off my record because
when you're not in there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
If you believe he's always watching, then that includes when you're there or not there, and he always remembers. But anyway, my mom. I told my mom, I was like, well, they asked how our trip was to South Carolina. By trip, it was just the evening, but they were like, I was like, I went to a club, and then my mom was like, what kind of club? And I was like,
you know,
I like did that, and she was like, a strip club? And I was like, yeah. And my parents started freaking out in like a happy way. Like they weren't like, oh, I'm so happy for you, but they thought it was hilarious. Like they were like,
my dad thought it was funny. He was like, why did you wait so long to tell me? You were there days ago. And I was like, I don't know, it just didn't come up. And he was like, well, you should have called sooner so I can congratulate you. And I was like, well, thanks.
They just thought it was funny that like we're adults now, we're doing adult things. Like it's just like that's just a funny thing to do. And like my dad was like, not in detail, but he was talking about like, some like poor experiences him and his friends have had like whenever they were younger, and like it was just funny. Like, we just talked about it for a while, and it was funny. They were like, happy. Like it was whatever. Like they were mad, and like Felix said, his dad like also laughed and thought it was funny.
He was telling me that he was like, yeah. It also doesn't help that we were on our way to church.
But I mean, overall, it was a good experience.
I was surprised because my daddy's never been to one of those, and he told me that, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way you've never been. And he was like, yeah, I've never been. I was like, okay. Yeah,
but either way, like our parents all gave positive reactions besides your mom initially, but
well, it's a joke now.
Even that wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't.
Like, yeah, overall it was a pretty good experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's about it.
All right, and I think we'll wrap it up with that for today. Check us out on
Instagram only, literally only Instagram.
Just Instagram. Nectar for the ears.
If you listen to this episode on Spotify or something, whatever you listen to podcasts on, which including sites that we didn't put our podcast on. Like I said, we are still in the millions, but
we're nearly to thousands.
So we're
if we even get past that, we'll get to tens.
Yeah. So
I'm just saying.
We're on platforms that we didn't put our podcast on, so you can listen to us anywhere. I'm just going to say anywhere. But on YouTube as well, we have Facecam now, and you can see today's date on the background if you do that.
It's today's date. It won't. Tomorrow it's going to be invalid unless we fix it.
We'll update it.
We might fix it. We'll think about it.
I'll put the new date on there.
If the platform you're listening on has comments, leave behind some of your funny first Clubhouse experiences. So that we can laugh at them, and if we feel that we can, maybe we'll read some next week.
We'll see.
Hey,
potentially.
We'll see.
Anyway, that's about it. Have a good one. Tune in next week where we're going to talk about a good topic, just like always, because we never do bad things.
Oh yes, excellent content every day of the week. Goodbye.
Peace.